As we continue this theme of I am renewed, and I pray that during the week, and that these themes are not just words that are put together, but there's something to stimulate, activate, and to awaken us when we get off this Zoom call or telephone call on Sundays. We are to allow those things that stood out to us, that gave us pause, that inspired us. We are allowed those words and that inspiration and that feeling to follow us the rest of the week. And then again, those midweek pick-me-ups. I'm not the only one that does it. There are things going on during the week that will keep you on the path of freedom and awakening. We are embarking on this idea of renewal, and that is to affirm, to declare that I am renewed. We are affirming and declaring our transformation, our reawakening, thinking and seeing with more clarity, involving ourselves with what Shirley Worlds classified one time as penthouse living. And I would like to co-sign with saying living at and from the top floor. Spiritually, what that's speaking of is an elevation of consciousness, that super consciousness, God consciousness. Most times we are required to have a special key or code to get to the top floor. And in some communities, you need a special pass or a decal on your car window to enter. So we're talking about that special place of being that's on the upper level to take our consciousness, our thoughts, our words, our feelings, and lift them. Well, to live in peace. And I'm talking about the peace where you are not moved from our image and likeness because of a diagnosis or an experience, not moved because of financial change and challenge, not moved because of a separation. Rather, that involves a job, a service, a person, a family, a location, etc. And you say, well, Reverend Lisa, how can I not be moved when there's a big, huge change in my life? Whatever it brings changes things in my life, whatever comes. When I say not be moved, I mean to not second guess our commitment to our belief, to our teaching, the thing we study, the messages we hear, that still small voice and movement we hear and sense inside. That's what I'm speaking of. Yes, we're not saying that we're not growing through experiences, and that's the word, to not allow yourself just to go through and to exist, but to grow through them. And so you stay centered in what you say you believe, in what you've learned, the messages that lift you and inspired you and kept you walking on that spiritual journey, to not be moved from that, but to speak a word to counteract that. Last week on Urban Family Focus, Reverend Gerald had a brother on. His name was Brother Carey. And one of the things he said that I like, he said the best thing that we can offer ourselves, our family, and our world is to be spiritually empowered, to show up as that spiritually empowered son and daughter. And he was fighting the struggle of forgiving his father for not being available. And so he said he sat in solitude, attended spiritual forms, connected with the true self, meditated. And when he did that, that dissolved and eliminated that hurt and anger. So that when he did show up with his father, he didn't have that fire and that hurt with him, but he had that openness and that peace that he can hear what the father was saying and that they can connect. And so when we show up fully aware, fully in our authentic self, allowing that spirit of God that's within us that image and likeness that we were created out of, when we show up anywhere fully dressed in that, then the energy and the light moves on our behalf. So he was able to come to the table with love and kindness, respect and unity, to hear with that spiritual ear. Because we have choice and dominion, the opportunity to use nature's forces and laws for our greater good. We have a conscious mind that operates within a subjective creative field. Our conscious mind is a part of spirit, desire, awareness of supplied needs that are already given, already ours. What good is God if we suffer over and over? It is when things come that we have been studying, meditating, being inspired, keeping our mind stayed on thee, that when those things come, we are not moved. We are not blown with the wind and with the ills of the world. After all the work, all the conscious effort, all the study, all the belief, trust, and faith we have mustered up in all of these years, especially with this teaching, where and how do we land? Do we land on our faces or do we land on our feet? We are greater than, and you can name anything. You can name it, but we're greater than that. Anything we may be suffering through, any challenge that may be on our table or before us, we are greater than that. We are to think ourselves past that. Affirm to yourself, I am renewed. Our teaching reminds us, and it's in the very beginning of our textbook, that introduction. It comes in 4 parts, 4 essential steps to fully awaken to how to live a more fulfilling, God-orchestrated life. First, to know what the thing itself is. This is what we have to use, the thing itself, the presence of power to do, to create, to accomplish. The thing itself, the principle of life, intelligent, universal energy that occupies space. And I need you to hold on to that. Universal energy that occupies space. The second step to our divine unfoldment, the way it works. And it works through a medium, a vessel. The thing finds conscious and individualized centers of expression through us. And that our intelligence is this universal mind. And it can only function at the level of our concept and understanding of it. See, this is the whole kit and caboodle of this teaching. In him, in it, we live, move, and have our being. How is your heart beating right now? There is something, that universal energy, that thing itself that's beating the heart. See, that universal energy is flowing through as each of us. Move your fingers, wiggle those toes. You can get up and move from where you are to another spot. You have these ears that hear me right now. And for some of us, with the technology we have, you have eyes to see me and others right now. See, we were able to do these things because of a divine, loving energy that enables us to do so. And so the fact that we're able to move these body parts, to think, to blink, to see hair grow, to cut ourselves and then see that skin repair itself. This is the thing that we're working with, and this is the thing that we can use in any and all circumstances. Now that we see and understand how it works, what else can it do for you? What will we direct it to do? And how much of this universal energy, how much of this power do we believe can get it done? You need the healing in a body part. That energy is right there waiting on your instruction and you to direct where it is to go. And that is to affirm that I am whole, perfect, and complete. And we are not just speaking idle words. We are speaking a desire. We are speaking into the ability of the thing itself to get it done, because after all, the way that it works is through us, our word, our belief, and our trust. The original life is infinite, endless, limitless, impossible to measure. Original life is good. It is filled with peace. It is the essence of purity. And what I mean by that, no byproducts or no fillers. God is God through and through. The power and its energy is true and pure. It is the ultimate of intelligence, and we get to use it as wisdom. It is power, it is law, the substance of and the orderly way it's worked out, without fail, exact and precise in all of its dealing. In our era, in ignorance of this truth, we have misused the highest power we possess, ultimately bringing forth the issues and conditions from which we suffer, believing and thinking that they came from nowhere or from somewhere else or someone else. As we have so often reiterated and reminded ourselves of our thinking center is the originator of all experiences, effects, and demonstrations. Remember what Mahatma Gandhi says. He says, when we change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. As a man changes his own understanding of truth, so does the attitude of the world change towards us. We need not wait to see what others do. We are all but a product of our thoughts. What we think, we become. So stop letting the world walk through your mind with dirty feet. We only get our feelings hurt when we give our permission to. Our joy and happiness will express when we think into that positivity. What we think, say, and do, when we do it in harmony with spiritual truth, life becomes worth living. Let us be the change we wish to see in the world. Whatever we want, let it begin with me. I remember as a little girl over at 48th in Maine, they sang that song, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. Let there be love on earth and let it begin with me." That's the way it works. And our third step to freedom, what it does. This divine mind contains all knowledge and wisdom, but before it can reveal to us its secrets, it must have an outlet. This outlet comes through our own receptive mentalities. See, all inventions, artwork, books, poems, music, lectures, and we can go on, has come through those of us who have deeply penetrated, uncovered, and discovered the secrets of nature and the mind of God. All is availed and available to us, but what we draw from the thing itself, again, we must draw through the channel of our own mind. No one can do our thinking for us. This month's theme, I Am Renewed, is for each to dial into a higher frequency of thinking, speaking, doing, and being. Let us not look far off for our gifts and our blessings and freedom, for it is right where you are in this very moment. We don't have to be anxious for the healing, for when you speak your word, for your financial resource and supply, when you speak your word, for a loving relationship, when you speak that word. Don't be in a hurry for it. When you trust and have faith that does not waver, you already know that you have it. It's just a matter of patience and perseverance before it actually becomes the experience. It's no different than when you know that a check is in the mail, something good or someone it's on its way. When you know that you're preparing to go on a vacation, your excitement is already there. You are planning and thinking, well, so it is with spiritual healing, a renewed mind. Speak it, plan through it, for it, act as though. Moses, Jesus, Job, and so many other master teachers went to the upper room for their instructions, their next course of action, for that peace of mind. We have the same opportunity. God has given us all. We just haven't accepted that greater gift. Spiritual wisdom says that God manifests through everything and is incarnated in every man and woman, boy and girl, that all is divinity and that nature herself is the body of God. The mechanical laws of nature are set and immutable. That means unchanging. But the spontaneous recognition of these laws gives us the power to bring them into practical use in our everyday life experiences. That's what it does. The fourth step in our spiritual freedom and awakening, how to use it. It has been proved that by thinking correctly, and when we say correctly, we mean the positive outlooks, and by a conscious mental use of the law of mind, and again, that's positivity, we can cause it to do definite things for us, through us. But giving conscious direction to it will only mirror back to us our requests, our belief, the words we have spoken, and those words that we truly believe. So when we're fearful, thinking that more of the same is coming, the universe has no choice but to mirror to us that worry. And that's the way we know how and when to correct the thought, turn it around. We use it through our mental portals, where we can look a discordant fact in the face and deny its reality. And now this is where some of our new thought thinkers get confused. We're not saying we don't have our head in the sand. We're not saying that we don't experience physical pain, that we don't have diagnoses, that we don't have to take medication, that it's not certain things that we have to eat and we have to do to maintain a healthy body, but that healthy body is first going to start with a healthy mind, a believing and trusting mind, a faithing mind to believe that whatever is going on in my body is going on in my mind. Let me contact that lesser thought, that negative thought, that fearful thought, and change it into positivity, remembering that I and the Father are one. So you look at your conditions, look within that body and see, just as you see a scratch, surgery, or a scar that's healing, that same power is going on within the body. So just use that imagination and see those cells, those muscles, those organs renewing themselves. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father, Creator, which is in heaven, is perfect. And when we're speaking of heaven, we're speaking of that penthouse location. We're speaking of that upper room thinking. We're talking about positivity, always flowing. Once you get yourself in the habit of thinking positive, thinking and knowing that the glass is half full instead of half empty, knowing that there is something on the other side of a discordant fact. When we can believe and trust that, train yourself to do that. And that's on a daily basis. We eat and we drink daily, sometimes 2, 3, 4 times a day. But what if you speak your word that many times and get full off of the Spirit? Peace is real. Confusion is man-made. Wholeness is real. Discomfort and disease is but an experience. We must realize we have the ability to change a thing, to call forth a desire, to take a new course in life. But we must apply the knowledge with spiritual wisdom. And knowledge and wisdom is not the same. To know something is different than applying the wisdom to it. People can know and read and graduate and have all kinds of degrees, but never use the knowledge for anything good. But that spiritual wisdom, the intelligence of the Father, when it connects with the knowledge of what we know, what we say we know, what we say we believe, then definite and divine results will show up. Let the time come when all of our conversation shall be in heaven. To the one who desires scientifically to work out their challenges, our challenges, we must take time daily to meditate, to vision, and to mentally treat the ills. No matter what the apparent contradictions may be, look and see beyond. It says, look beyond appearances. What we see is already there. Now, what else do you want to see through this? A testimony only comes when there's a test to see where you are, where we are in our spiritual journey, to see and locate what needs to be changed and eliminated from consciousness. A new thought fills a new mold in consciousness. When we're thinking the same old thing, that's what we're going to see. That's how this universe is set up. By mind, by thinking, by speaking, by believing. And even though we can't see how it's done, we see the results of it. We were called forth, and here we are. And look at how magnificent the body works. We can look all around the world to see the beauty of a word called forth. We are dealing with an intelligent energy, the invisible world waiting to express on our behalf. So do your work. I'm doing my work, believing the power is working, is in, as, through, and for me. Ernest Holmes says, whatever the nature of any principle may be, insofar as it is understood by anyone, it may be understood by all who will take the time to investigate. And it does not require any unusual degree of intelligence, but rather a practical application of what we now know in order that we may increase our understanding of. This teaching is a study of first cause, spirit, mind, intelligence, from which everything comes. The thing itself, we need to court it, praise it, and appreciate it. And it will return the same sentiments. Let us proclaim this day and every day that there is no lack of life, substance, or intelligence anywhere. Life is filled with possibilities, and we are to be possibility thinkers. Draw upon the source according to the need and the desire. What we use is mind, and that is our connecting link to God. The highest purpose of mind is to transform divine ideas into our experiences, our demonstrations, and our manifestations. I am, you are the thing itself, all spiritual substance that we get to mold. It is love and light. It is the fire of our beingness. I am, you are the way it works through as you and I direct and allow. I am, you are what it does. It provides according to my belief and my use of. So I am open and receptive and active in how to use it. I align my thoughts with good, wholeness, peace, justice, courage, self-worth. All that God is, I am, and it needs no definition, for God is undefinable. Make all of that what you will. There is this spiritual vitamin. Niwili sends them every single day. And if you're blessed to be on that list, and Reverend Gerald spoke about it, one that she gave him yesterday for his show. But I have one that I love that she sent the other day. And it says, they say to dance like nobody is watching. I think that implies that we are afraid or ashamed to dance in front of the people. But I say dance like everybody is watching. Dance like your children are watching. Your ancestors, your family, dance for those who are hurting, those who can't dance. Dance for those who lost loved ones and those who suffer injustice throughout the world. Let every step be a prayer for humanity. Most of all, dance for the Creator who has breathed into your soul life, so you may celebrate this very gift of living. So how can we be assured of peace in times of turmoil, challenges, and pandemics? How we do that is we dance through life. When we sing and when we dance, we are happy. There is something within us that allows us to move to either the rhythm of the music or the rhythm of life that's within us. So how do we transcend and move past the challenges and the endemics? We pray and not faint. We bring our thoughts into harmonious balance of what we say we want. Not just what we see, but looking beyond and seeing the presence of God. And we do it by not letting doubt and worry keep us from living the fullness of life. We are here to express divine intelligence, ideas that are uplifting, to live as sons and daughters of God, to live in the penthouse, the upper room, in that heavenly state of being. I am renewed. Through consciousness, we have the ability to think and see what we want to see. New Thought family, why do we try to see the worst instead of the best? Because God is always revealing it. I think about things sometimes that happen in life. You know, you can hear somebody arguing, or you could see somebody fighting. Are you the one that runs to see and do nothing but stand there? Or do you speak a word of peace, unity, divine right action? Do you speak a word of love? When you hear disturbing news, what is your response or your reaction? Are you speaking right action? And that's how we train the mind, that when we hear something that's out of order of that heavenly state of being, we speak words to combat it, to dissolve it, to eradicate it. To be renewed is to not do what we used to do, but to adopt and believe in something greater, something worthwhile, something inspiring, something enlightening. So unlock the prison door of mind and let the captive free. God provides for every level of consciousness. God meets us right where we are. And wherever we are, let the journey begin. A destination of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. How much longer are we going to wait before we release this tremendous power that's within us? Let us have complete faith in the presence and power of God. Be expectant, confident, and optimistic. Keep your enthusiasm strong. Never allow yourself to be discouraged or depressed. Charge your mind with interest and enthusiasm and ambition. Keep your ambition and aspirations high. Cultivate patience and perseverance. Keep your imagination centered in what you want and keep your faith moving toward it. Keep your consciousness expanding, growing, and moving to higher levels. Be positive in your thoughts and feelings and actions. Accentuate the positive in every situation. Never allow yourself to dwell on misery, sickness, symptoms, and misfortune. Never depreciate, criticize, minimize, or speak despairingly of yourself or any other person. Never dwell upon your mistakes. Think always of yourself as growing, expanding, and becoming more efficient and resourceful and dynamic. Look for the good in everything and everybody. Refuse to recognize anything but the good. See the best of everything and know that your mind will produce it. Think in large terms. The more you expect, the more your faith will bring it to you. Convince your mind that what you seek is already here, that it's already yours. Train your mind to think in terms of abundance. Never allow it to dwell upon lack or limitation in any form. Stimulate your faculties and talents by increasing your demands upon them. When you meet trouble of any kind, refuse to be worried or disturbed by it. Know that you are bigger than any adverse thing that happens to you, but have the power to overcome it. Meet every problem with the conviction that it is already solved. See it as an opportunity to prove God. Face every difficulty with courage, strength, and fortitude, determined to turn it to good. Know that you have the power to adjust anything, change anything, correct anything, overcome anything, or subdue anything. Believe the unbelievable. God goes all out for you when you go all out for God. Affirm to yourself, I am renewed. Peace and abundant blessings to all of you.